What's going on? We are back with the anonymous coverage, and today we are joined by three very, very special guests that I enjoyed watching this entire season. We have Marcel, Christopher, and Andy in the house. How are y'all doing?
Doing great.
Dylan.
So I'm very excited to be able to talk to y'all. And the first question I want to ask, what do y'all think was your own personal biggest move that got you to the final face-off?
Kicking everybody's ass in that last challenge.
God, I hated that challenge so much.
I told them prior to the challenge, I said, y'all don't have a chance. And they were like, yeah, we do. I said, no, you don't. Y'all might as well go sit out.
How about being like the least threatening and the biggest team player? There I am.
True.
I would say for me, the elimination safe box, that was probably like the moment that everybody was like, okay, Marcel came to play. So
yeah, no, of course. It was so intriguing watching y'all all throughout the season. I really enjoyed just the gameplay because all of y'all's games were completely different. So I want to talk about relationships that you had within the game. How quickly did those bonds form for some of y'all? Whoever wants to go.
I can start
with go ahead, Andy.
Yeah, I drove on to the venue with Jack, and there we were, two guys from New York, immediately bonding. I love the fact that like some of the world knows, Jack is a stand-up comic part-time as well as being, a math tutor and a gamer. And my first intern that worked for me was Zach Galifianakis, and I tried to convince Zach not to be a comedian for like the first year that he worked for me because I thought he was a better event planner than a comedian. So Jack and I laughed about that a lot. Now, how ironic was it that Jack was the one that was trying to take me down for the first 4 or 5 episodes, and I didn't know it at all. Jack was a good player.
Marcel, how about you?
I think it took me a lot longer to form connections with the people because I'm at home all day playing video games. I'm not the most like social person. And, I have a pretty bad resting bitch face. I would say after the first face off is when I started to get more friendly with like Christopher and Xavier and stuff like that and Jack. So it took me a little bit of a time to do that. But after that first face off, I think I was pretty solid with the boys, at least.
No doubt. I think for me, it took a little bit, right? I feel like it took a little bit for everybody. But at the end of the day, you had to take the first 2 days or 3 days to figure out, hey, is this person lying to me?
Yeah.
Is this somebody I can trust? Is this somebody who's just blowing smoke, or are they telling me what, they mean? And I think that's a really difficult place to be. But, once you figure that out, you got your ride or die people that you're going to stay with the whole time. Mm-hmm. And, Andy and I grew very, very close throughout the show. Marcel and I were close, like he said, since the first face off. And then we just kept getting closer and closer and closer. And by the end of it, you're looking at each other going, hey, we did this. And when Marcel and I had control at the end of that game, it was like, who do we want to eliminate? We get to pick now.
Yeah.
We went from having nothing to everything.
Yeah, there was a moment where, everybody was outsmarting everybody. And I looked at Christopher and I was like, we're not going to outsmart these people, but we can outdumb them really hard.
Yeah.
and that's what we did. We were like, let's just play dumb and sit back and let the smart people take each other out. And we were like, all right, let's get it. And then we just separated. And that's what we did. We just played dumb the whole time.
Yep.
How hard was it adapting to having those face-to-face conversations and then going into the anonymous mode and coming back face-to-face again with those people that you just potentially played under the anonymous handle?
Andy, it was hard.
It
was hard.
It was hard. It was hard.
Yeah. It was hard. It was hard.
But
up in hats, right?
At the end of the day, that's the game, right? So like every time I would come back from the hideout, I'm laughing. And they're like, are you not nervous? And I'm like, no. I think it's hilarious because what you just told me in the house, some of you's lying.
Yeah.
Some of you are being truthful. And it's just funny. Like, I feel like when you're in a stressful situation, you got to have fun with it. And I think you could read the people that were lying to you after you got out of those hideouts. You would come back into the house and certain people would be really quiet and certain people would be frustrated. And it's like, me and Marcel and Andy all had red lights around our, at every
Almost every
elimination.
night. Yeah.
We just got really comfortable there. And it was like, hey, if you want to send me home, go do it. But it was also weird to see people get really quiet.
Or emotional. Or when people got
oh God.
like they were actually upset. I mean, like there was a level of like complaining, being like, I don't understand why I'm up there. But like when people were emotional, like, what, am I a bad person that people are putting me at risk? It's just like, no, that's not the game. We're not voting for you because you're a terrible person. We're voting for you because you should be eliminated. So it was just like, if they challenged you and they were like, I think you voted for me today, that was fine. But when it was like an emotional response, when I struggled a little bit.
Well, guys, think about it. Like, what percentage would you say were so those who got thrown out, those who went home? What percentage were a threat, and what percentage we just wanted to have them on? Was it 50, was it 50-50? I don't know.
No, it definitely wasn't 50-50.
I don't know. I don't.
Lauren, that was my gift because people didn't mind having me around, And of course, I was in a quandary because I'm like, well, if you do, Christopher and I would laugh. Like, if you do throw me out, I'm going home. I'm going to go on the beach for a week. I might go out on my a few days. I might even take a big trip. I don't know. Go ahead, throw me off. But I'm not. I'm okay. But obviously, I'm sure the emotional part and the strategic part was one thing. Think about it. Like Xavier looked at Jack, I think, right, and said, you guys were smart because I would have won this game. And he probably could have. I don't know. I mean, so that was smart. Robbie, boy, she was one. She could have won that game.
Oh, yeah.
And, she was strategically removed. There were others that were removed for other reasons. There you go.
Watching it all back, was there anything that was not shown that you wish was shown?
Ooh.
A lot.
We have a lot.
A lot.
We have a lot.
Think about it. So on average, we were shooting 16 hours a day, and they have to edit it down to 40 minutes. And so we talk about it as a group all the time going, there was so much content that didn't get in the show. And it was disappointing because a lot of it would have helped the show make a little more sense. It would have helped all our decisions look a little more like that made more sense. And so, but what can you do? You only got 40 minutes. You got to edit that thing down. So I don't know specific. Can you guys talk about specific things you think that were edited out that would have been more helpful?
I guess some people's like how they carry themselves in the domain, and how they went about approaching conversations. Billy, for instance, like she was very confident in her like private booth, but she wasn't as confident outside of the domain. And a lot of people picked up that nervous energy sometimes. So like just like little conversations, like Lily would say something to you and then you'd have a conversation with somebody else, or Christopher would say something and I would tell somebody something else. And that overall affected how we voted and how we played the game in anonymous mode. But like Andy said, like there's no way you can fit everybody's conversation in 40 minutes. So for you, like that doesn't make any sense. Why would you do that? It's like, but they didn't show why I did that. So and that happens. And that
makes it tough because it's like, that's not necessarily what you watch every episode is exactly as we remember it, but that's never going to be the case. But it's like, hey, you got to cut it down. And there's going to be a lot of things, you want to portray certain people certain ways and do different things, but that's what makes TV, right? I mean, that's what makes it all so brilliant. And then you're just playing a guessing game, waiting for it to come out, going, how's this all going to turn out?
Yeah.
But think about it, guys. Like, what an amazing set. What an incredible what a great group of people we were with. Like, it was incredible. I mean, it was incredible.
It was awesome to watch. And we're almost out of time, but I just want to wrap it up with one more question to each of y'all. What was y'all's biggest takeaway, whether it's personal, game experience wise, from the experience?
I mean, for me, I'm going to speak for myself, but I think it's going to go on to the others too. Is like, I think at least the three of us on the screen right now, we're all ourselves completely.
Yes.
From morning, noon to night, we were ourselves. Chris would always say, what you see is what you get. And I'm like, well, people go, oh, well, Andy, tell us about you. I'm like, I'm the guy from the Fire Festival. I'm the ultimate team player. I'm Andy King. That's what you get. Marcel's like, hey, I'm a gamer. This is what I do. Boom. Like, and so I feel like it was interesting to see each player.
Well, truthfully, Andy, the whole Final Four was that way.
Yeah. Except for Nina had one big lie.
Except Nina had one big lie. And it was like, but nobody was trying to like figure out different things or like make people, you know, question who they were. Like people kept telling me, they're like, you don't teach kids how to fish. That's not what you do. I'm like, no, that's definitely what I do. Right.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm not going to change who I am for anybody. And if you want me to, see you later. Like my hat, deuce, peace, bye.
Yeah, just be yourself, and it is difficult to poop with a microphone on. That's it. Those are my biggest
Yeah.
takeaways.
I
Those
love
are my
And
biggest takeaways.
hey, in those blue toilets.
That's it.
right.
What a way to end it there. Well, Marcel, Christopher, Andy, thank you so much for your time. It was such a pleasure to watch y'all this season. I really enjoyed it. And yeah, thank you again.
Thank you for watching.
Thanks,
for having
Lauren.
us.
Appreciate you.
Got it. Thank you.